Kenya's Gold. Klabu yako ya Kronomita ikikwisha titiga saa 12, basi ni nafasi yako bomba kujiunga nasi. Tusukume gurudumu linalohusiana na masuala ya kilimo biashara. Karibu sana popote ulipo. Papa hapa utajifunza mengi. Namna ninavyosema kila siku ni kwamba tafuta kalamu, kitabu, kuwa tayari kwenda darasani. Kuna mengi tumekuandalia kabisa, usikose. Leo katika kombo chetu basi ni kuku. Tutazungumzia labda unataka kuingia katika biashara yenyewe, basi itakuwa ni radhi kwako ujiunge nasi kadi tama tufike tamate. Jina langu ni Emmanuel Terera.
And my name is Violeta Ngina. Thank you so very much for joining us this Wednesday as we continue with our Kenya's Gold mission of learning from our farmers, appreciating our farmers, and eventually inducting and onboarding new farmers like you and I. Now we do have a fantastic show lined up for you, but before we unpack that, can we just take a minute and talk about how incredible yesterday's show was? Now, more often than not, we normally have stakeholders join us in our gold conversation and we talk about key reforms in the sector. But yesterday we sat down with two youngsters who are setting an indelible mark in the agricultural sector. Now take a look at how that went down.
Lazima ni ukuwe na strategy na plan of how you're going to manage the 6,000 trees, because each tree iko na cost yake. And you're in business, so for every tree you want to get your maximum profit.
Barista ni mtu ambaye amepewa ujuzi kutengeneza vikombe za kahawa. So kahawa kutengeneza si kama venye unatengeneza chai, kuweka tu majani, maji. There's a lot more that comes with making that cup of coffee. That
it's better to intercrop with the shade trees, because the shade trees may reduce the volume of coffee produced, but shading will allow there to be higher vigor, higher quality cherries, which is what I'm after.
Everyone has a role to play. So when we have those many innovations, there's a creation of job opportunities, which is helpful to the youth, and something which we were not told. You know, growing up tulikuwa tunajua kazi za ofisi ndizo zinalipa. Not knowing kazi za shamba pia kuna pesa mingi sana zimejificha pale. So there is processing in between when kazi ya farmer atamalizia pale kwa cherry akisha deliver. So from there whatever happens until we get it pale kwa kikombe, we also need a lot of people hapa katikati wa kufanya kazi ya mikono, kuprocess. There is also roasting involved in between. So it's an opportunity.
Now, how fantastic is that? At just 31 years old, David is a successful coffee farmer with 6,000 bushels of coffee under his hat. And Brenda, at 25, she is a coffee skills instructor. Now, these two are a true embodiment of what the Kenya Gold spirit is. But today, being Wednesday, we shift our focus to animal farming. Last week, we introduced fish farming and talked broadly about the importance of blue economy. So today, Terrell, what do we have?
Tunazungumzia kuku namna nilivyosema, na kuna makala maalum yanayohusiana na broiler. Au utataka kuondoka, tazama makala hayo.
Another day, another exciting feature right here at Kenya's Gold. Now, you remember recently we brought you that top-tier agri-nation of Uncle Fred Machoka from his ranch, and we finished on a high by talking to the wife, Mom Sophie Machoka, who talked about how she started with 300 chicks and now she has 4,000 chicken, a successful poultry farmer, and we want to find out what has she done to make sure that she is a successful poultry farmer. We'll find out about that and a lot more right in our Gold feature. Come along with me. Let us meet Mom Sophie Machoka. This is Kenya's Gold. Knock, knock, knock.
Come
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, good.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, of course, he was going to come back.
Yeah, thanks. You kept your promise.
Yes, thank you
Karibu
so much
sana
for
to
having
these
us.
babies of mine.
I can see they're so tiny, so cute. You want to talk about all these tiny babies you have over here?
These are broiler chicks that are 1 week old.
When did you start poultry farming, and also why poultry farming?
I started poultry farming in 2017. That is in this place in Isinya. But prior to that, I had kept poultry in Kitengela for quite a number of years, many years actually. But when we talk of here in Isinya, I started in 2017 with 300 chicks, broilers. And the reason was we had started a restaurant, a small restaurant. We wanted to give people something homegrown, something organic, because even the vegetables they eat are homegrown, they're organic. So we wanted to bring our own bird to Nalea from day one until we slaughter and then we sell.
How has the journey been for you?
It's been fun, it's been difficult, it's been tears, it's been sweat, but all the same, we are here. When we started, of course, always the challenge is finances, because these animals are labor intensive and they're capital intensive. For example, one chick now is going for 100 bob, day old.
Na hiyo wakati ukinunua 2017 was
they were
what was
75.
the price? 75 shillings for a day old chick.
Yeah, actually 55, 65. Then it came to 75. It stayed at 75 for some time, but now recently they've put it up to 100. That is one of the challenges. Another challenge was room. We started with a small room that could hold only 300, and as days have gone by, I've been adding the rooms pole pole. I get profit kidogo hapa na nasongesha nyumba, then I bring more.
Let us talk about the conditions in this room and what you need to do to make sure that the chicks are in a conducive space for them to grow.
You have to know you are bringing how many chicks, how big is the room. For example, the recommended is that a broiler bird will need a space of about 1.2 to 1.5 square feet for it to grow. A layer will need like double that. They need more space than the broilers. What we have here on the ground, these are wood shavings. So these wood shavings, when we bring, we just put on the floor, all of it, to help keep the warmth, so that they're not sleeping on the cold cement. Number two, when they poo, their poop now, this absorbs, so that now they are not just sleeping in their poo. So it acts always. But at the end of the day, it's manure for me.
Ukimalizana nayo unabeba unapeleka kwa shamba.
Kwa shamba. So it's a win-win. So when you go to bring the chicks, that room you have built, you have put the sawdust, then you do what we call removing the corners. You put something around the corner, something curved, so that there's no sharp corner.
Why?
If there's a sharp corner, when something maybe scares them, or if the fire maybe goes down, they always run to corners. Then they go to a corner. The first one goes, looking for warmth. Then another one comes and sleeps on top. Another one piles on top. At the end of the day, they'll die there. That is what we call removing the corners.
Removing the corners.
Also get your chicks from a reputable farm. Number one, because you know they must be using the best agricultural practices. Number two, if there's a complaint, you know where to go to. So now you brought your day-old chick. You let them stay maybe for 1 hour, 2 hours, just in the boxes, just to rest and just breathe. But that time the room is warm enough. Then after 1 hour, 1.5 hours, now you remove them pole pole from the boxes as you count, because you also want to know that you are not being shortchanged. Counting has two purposes. First of all, you don't want to say you have put 100 and 80, because when they're so small, it's not easy to just look. Number two, you see the way they are, you can't count every day. So we count by elimination. For example, I bring, like right now, this one, since they came, they're a week old, about 7 have died. The breeders will tell you that you allow a mortality rate of between 1 and sometimes it can go even up to 10% of mortality. So if you have like 100, you prepare to lose at least 10.
Okay.
If it goes beyond that, now there's a problem. There's something you are not doing. Others, maybe in the early stages, if you are not careful, they can also die from constipation. Because when they just come, you see this water, when we just remove them from the boxes, they start with the water. That water has got glucose, just to give them boost to start. And then it also has liquid paraffin. So you start them with water, and then that liquid paraffin, of course, it smoothens as the water flushes the system. Now you start knowing the numbers you have by elimination. If you had 100, one died, you have 99. Like that, until by the time you go to slaughter, you know, I have this number. So that even if you tell your client, I have this number of chicken, you are not just talking out of your head. Now the conditions, right behind you, there's a jiko.
Yes.
We call it a brooding jiko. When they're this old, from day one, it will go on until they are 21 days old.
That's 3 weeks.
3 weeks. But that is depending on the weather. The temperature, they say, has to be, you maintain it at 37 degrees Celsius day and night. Temperature is very, very important because when the temperature is too low, they get pneumonia, they get affected, they die. These bulbs provide light because the broiler bird eats 24/7. They eat day and night. They drink day and night. They don't sleep.
So after the 3 weeks, is that now the stage they move to the other stage, or they'll still be here but not with the jiko?
They'll still be here. But you see, we have hived off a place just to keep the heat and the warmth here. When they finish this fire, then now we remove the demarcation, if I can call it demarcation. We just let them roam all the way up to there. So normally, the room has to be a room that will hold 600. But slowly by slowly, as they grow bigger, you expand the room. Alternatively, you can brood them in a small place and then carry them to a bigger place. But I don't like that one because they go through shock. They don't like being moved. During the moving, just from here to there, some can even die. But then again, they just don't enjoy it. They reach there, they start looking around. They take a few hours before now they settle and start eating. So hapa inakuwa ndio kwao. They know this is food. We are putting here because they are still young. We cannot put on the feeders because they are too short to reach where the feeder is. And here they know anadondoa tu hivi chini, that is food. When they finish 10 days, we'll remove this and now put the feeders.
At the entrance, kuna hapo mahali tuna.
Yes.
Yes. Please give us more information about that.
Yeah, that one is called a foot bath. You have to have water that has disinfectant in it because we carry lots of germs under our feet. So when we come, you have to really step in that water and we have to keep changing it, especially in this rainy season, we are changing like daily. So we put disinfectant there. So disinfecting is very important. In number 2, you keep away from human traffic, you are doing well. Because many people coming, you don't know who could be carrying germs. So like now, when I have got 2 assistants, but whenever I bring a lot like this, I assign one, hii ni yako. So yeye ndiye atalea mpaka wafike like 3 weeks. So we know it's just one person accessing. Number 3, how we eliminate disease, we give them vaccinations. There are 2 major diseases that these birds suffer from. This one called Gumboro, this one called Newcastle. Those are killers.
Is that for the chicks or even the mature chicken?
You vaccinate like though we vaccinate babies when they're chicks. You can't vaccinate when they're big. So when they're 5 days old, we vaccinate against Gumboro. When they're like 10 days old, we vaccinate against Newcastle. Then maybe at 14 days, give a booster of both, and then we stop. We don't give them any more drugs until slaughter.
So did you get training for that?
There are some groups who have given us vaccination charts. So you just follow that chart. You know that at this time, you have to vaccinate against this, and then you just let them stay. When you want to vaccinate, for example, so you see there's a lot of water. You remove all the water. Let them stay thirsty for like 3 hours. Then now you mix the vaccine in the water, and then you give them. And then the vaccine just stays here for a maximum of 2 hours. Kama kuna ingine imebaki, you pour it away. Because now you don't want it again to be a contaminant, because you see a vaccine is a live virus.
So now let us talk about what they feed on at this stage.
The brooding stage, the 3 weeks, 21 days, you start them with broiler starter mash. Then after 3 weeks now, when you separate, the layers will start eating growers. Now the layers will have to go to a different house, the broilers to a different house, because they are eating totally different food. So now the layers will start on growers mash. These ones will be on broiler finisher mash. We are now finishing them off.
The broilers, after 5
to 6 weeks,
you're ready for slaughtering.
Yes.
They're grown enough for slaughtering. Now, when you were starting and we asked about how the journey has been, you said, of course, there are good times. You've had a lot of happiness, a lot of tears. Please give us a little bit of that happiness experience. Alafu pia, utuambie wakati wa machozi ni wakati nini imefanyika.
Like now, I'll advise somebody who is just going to venture into this business. Have money in your hand. Buying the chick, that's 100 bucks. And then the feed. These things can feed, my friend, a broiler bird, 140 grams a day. From 3 weeks old up on the ngoma huanza, because you need money. Number 2, diseases. That is part of the tears that a farmer can weep. The joy, you know, just the joy of watching them grow. That is a joy.
Now let's talk about the markets.
You want to establish markets first. Your friends, your network. Yeah, that's how I was doing it. I would also advise a farmer to invest in a good freezer, because once they have reached the stage of maturity, you want to slaughter. If there's no market, that's the time they are really eating. So at that time, if you have a good freezer, you just slaughter and freeze and pack, so that when now you get market, you just remove from the freezer and you sell.
What are some of the practices you need to make sure you follow to make sure that they are well stored in that freezer?
When you slaughter, first of all, you have to make sure you drain all the blood, otherwise the meat looks black because damu imegandia ndani. So you hold it upside down, then slaughter, then let the blood drip. Then when you remove the manyoya, you wash and wash until the skin is just pink. Then when you go to arrange them in your freezer, if there are many, you know, try to make sure you are not putting one on top of each other. But even if they are, after every few hours you turn. After every few hours you turn. Once you turn, then they freeze individually.
Well, thank you so much. I feel like we have learned so much on how to take care of the chicks, which is both for the broilers and the layers. And now we want to go and see our mature broilers that are about 5 weeks. Let's now go to the mature ones.
Sawa. They are 5 weeks old. They haven't reached 7, but we'll slaughter the others that will grow much bigger than the others. So we start by picking the big ones, natoa, because they don't grow at the same pace all the time. Yes.
Let's talk about the things we have introduced here that were not in the brooding stage.
We have introduced these feeders. Those chicks we saw there, if you give them this space, they can't reach here.
Yes.
So they tend to jump in here. They start eating from here. So when they jump here, they put their dirt there, and then you can't have many eating from here because you'll have like 5, 10 here. And yet this feeder here is supposed to feed like 50.
Now we've also spoken on how they feed 24 hours. They're always feeding.
Yeah, these ones are 24/7. Yes.
What is the danger of not being able to keep them fed through and through?
They will not gain weight the way they're supposed to gain. So you'll have to feed them for much longer, which means they're wasting space. Another bad thing they can do is they start pecking each other. Cannibalism sets in. They start eating each other. Yeah.
And when they're at this stage, is it still very important to control human traffic?
Yes, at every stage, hygiene is of the essence. Even until you are slaughtering, hygiene is of the essence.
All right. Can you confirm to us that it is actually a lucrative and fulfilling business to get into?
For me personally, I'll say it's fulfilling because I enjoy doing it. First of all, a farmer has to enjoy doing this.
Talk to the young person back at home.
It is important that our young people learn that the food they eat gets grown on the farm. And that is why when we have schools coming in, we take them to every section. They look at how we grow vegetables, how we grow maize, how we grow. The children don't know. It's important that they know and that they do, not just knowing. Without agriculture, you are begging, I'm telling you. They can keep even kienyeji chicken, a few. You just get 2, a cock and a hen. Then you akitaga mayai, unampatia analalia, anaangua vifaranga, alafu unachunga. So somebody can start small like that.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Mom Sophie. It's been an absolute pleasure being in your poultry farm and seeing just the good work that you are doing. All right, so guys, we are about to get the one that we are about to eat. Yo. This one?
Yeah, just grab just like this. Yeah, they don't know how to run.
300 chicks to close to 4,000, and we have paid the debt. I believe you back at home have learned so much when it comes to poultry farming and everything you need to know so that you make sure that your chicken thrive. But for now, ni wakati wa kwenda kuchinja kuku wetu. Thanks to Mrs. Machoka. Thank you so very much. Now let us go enjoy our meal. Now this is Kenya's Gold. Keep watching.
Sasa hiyo smile kwa sababu ulikula kuku. Umemwona sana, umekimbia kweli kweli, lakini huko kukimbia sana muhimu baadaye ni kumwafua mnofu wa kuku. Lakini ambacho kimenipendeza sana na ninavyosema kwamba anza na kuku wawili tu na mwishowe utakuwa na hatma nzuri ya faida na mwelekezi anaitwa Ombesa anasema anza na mayai. Anzia mayai sasa ndio mwisho baadaye upate nafasi ya kulea kuku wako.
First I want to confirm I ate the chicken and it was absolutely good. Now there's absolutely so much to talk about when it comes to broiler chicken and poultry farming in general. We will be continuing with that conversation after this short break that we're about to take with a guest that will shed more light on poultry farming and also animal health in general. You don't want to miss out on that. But for now, our social media platforms are open for you to talk to us on Instagram at Kenya's Gold. Our SMS line is 22422 and our email is kenyasgold@royalmedia.co.ke. See you after this short break.